Do you believe in ghosts? Today we're grave digging into everything related to ghosts. Do you dare to listen?
Coolmates Entertainment presents Not Another Spooky Podcast.
Hey Ghoster Squad, welcome back to Not Another Spooky Podcast, aka your favorite spooky slumber party. I'm Mandy Spooks.
And I'm Rabbit Loves Horror. We're just two lifelong besties keeping the spook alive together all year.
Today we're grave digging into ghosts. Do we believe in them? Have we seen one? Are we ghosts? You know, all the ghosty banter. To set the vibe for this episode, let's get into some slumber party shenanigans. Today's game is Bone, Marry, Slash. Oh! Okay, so this one's going to be kind of fun because it's going to be hard to slash someone.
Yeah.
So we have Beetlejuice, Casper, and the Headless Horseman.
This one is kind of fun. And by kind, I mean really fun. But I think I'm going to slash Casper.
Gasps heard around the world.
I know. He's just too cute. I don't know. I don't want to corrupt him in any way. I just want to keep it the way he is. So I'll slash him. And then I'll bone the Headless Horseman. Because it's just a headless torso. And if you're in the gay world and you ever been in like those dating apps, you're just used to having headless profiles and only seeing like a torso. So that's pretty run of the mill. And then I'll marry Beetlejuice. I feel like he's a little crazy. He's a little evil, but I'll never be bored. He'll always be saying something funny, something dumb, and we'll have a good time. And for some reason, lately, I've been really attracted to Beetlejuice. I don't know why. It's weird. I went to Spirit a couple weeks ago and I found his mask and I'm like, why does he look so handsome? And like, why is this mask so handsome? And then I saw a TikTok or a Instagram reel of somebody dressing up or putting makeup on as Beetlejuice and they were really attractive too. And I'm like, what is happening right now? Why am I attracted to Beetlejuice?
You're in your Beetlejuice era. Your daddy Beetlejuice era.
What about you?
That's funny. Dang, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I too would slash Casper because it's like he is a sweetheart, but like we need some spice, you know? Yes. And there's no spice there. And just to keep things interesting and not say the same things you did, I think I would bone Beetlejuice. Only because, like, this is going to sound mean, but it's not. As you were describing him, like, he's always, like, making jokes and stuff, I realized that I think I'm married to Beetlejuice. Because the Ghosters don't get to see this side of Mr. Spooks. But when he's, like, happy and like comfortable around people, he makes a lot of inappropriate jokes and I'm just like, oh my god, why did I marry this man? But he has to be on his best behavior on camera because I'm like, you would get us canceled so fast, and we have like an inside joke that if we ever got canceled it would be his fault, so you can imagine.
He's really fun.
He is really fun, but also a lot of people don't understand his humor and they think he's serious. True. So it's like, it'll get us into so much trouble. So bone Beetlejuice because I kind of get to live the experience anyway. And then Headless Horseman, if we're talking the one from Spooky Hollow, I call it Spooky Hollow because I just like, that's what it seems like to me. I feel like that would be the time of my life. We've got spooky vibes all the time. I would love to go with him on his horse all the time, leaf peeping and collecting spooky things. So I feel like that would be a fun life to commit to.
That sounds really cute, actually. It could be side saddle and another horse.
Yes. Imagine the vlogs. All right, we're already having way too much fun and we're just getting started. So let's get into some haunted housekeeping. All right, Ghosters, it has been quite an exciting week. First, we want to say thank you so much to all our new listeners and YouTube viewers. It has been very nice seeing that our changes have been working. It appears that the new format of the show seems to be creating some spooky buzz. So, when the ghosts haunt, we answer. Our new Keeping the Spook Alive format is here to stay. While the topics may change, the Spooky Bestie banter never ends. So, moving forward, you can expect the same format every week, but you never know what topic might haunt your feed next. I also want to say thank you to everyone who has donated to our GoFundMe so far. Bad Boy Filming starts at the end of this month, and I'm so excited to bring it to life for you guys. The excitement just keeps getting bigger and bigger. We got invited to an encore screening of last year's fan fiction film, The Night Father Came Home, and so for us, it just feels like slowly but surely people are starting to know Ghoulmates Entertainment, which is really exciting. So I will leave the link in the description until production wraps in December. And again, we appreciate any help that you guys can throw our way. Every little bit helps us get one step closer to our dream of becoming full-time horror filmmakers. I also wanted to share that our giveaway is going live today on Instagram, and the Halloween costumes prediction post. Sorry, I'm too excited. I'm talking too fast. Our Halloween predictions post will go live next Monday. And if the giveaway doesn't entice you to follow us, perhaps a little Ask Us Anything will. I forgot to mention last week that we will also be posting an Ask Us Anything sticker on our stories and a post on our feed, so that you guys can literally ask us anything you want. No question is off limits. And it's going to be a really great time for our Halloween party episode. And we can't do that without you guys asking us bloodthirsty questions. So Gravedig in, I challenge you guys to ask us some really fun, juicy questions, because I feel like I have answered every Halloween question possible at this point. So this will be new for Rabbit as well.
Yeah. Okay.
I see the panic setting in.
Yeah. I'm like, what did I get myself into? But no, I'm interested to see what kind of questions we get. I could be an open book. I'm open to it.
For sure. There will be drinks aplenty involved as well. So yeah, now's the time. If you guys have had any burning questions, stay tuned into our Instagram, because we're trying to put together a very fun, iconic, I don't know, not iconic, but a very fun, unforgettable Halloween party for the first time. I've never had a Halloween party celebration with Rabbit on any of my content platforms before, so I'm super excited about it. All right, that was a lot. So it's time to get into the spooky mood for today's main event of Ghosts. So grab your notebooks and pencils, because Slash is in session, Ghosters. Today, we're haunting way back in time, about 3,500 years ago, to the dusty ruins of ancient Mesopotamia. That's such a hard word to say. The birthplace of civilization and the world's first recorded ghost story. Picture this, a cracked clay tablet written in cuneiform, if that's how you pronounce it, buried for thousands of years under the sands of Babylon. When archaeologists finally unearthed it, they realized it wasn't just some boring receipt or royal decree. It was a ghost manual. Some might call it the handbook for the recently deceased. Just kidding, I just made that up. On this ancient tablet, now sitting quietly in the British Museum, a Babylonian priest described how to deal with a wandering spirit. The instructions? They said, draw the likeness of the ghost in clay, offer it food and drink, and perform a ritual to guide it back to the underworld. But here is the twist. The tablet also shows a faint sketch of a bearded spirit being led away by a priest holding its hand. That's right, the world's first ghost story wasn't a jump scare, it was a rescue mission. These ancient Babylonians believed ghosts were just lonely souls who hadn't been properly laid to rest. They weren't out to terrify you, they just wanted closure. So next time you hear a bump in the night, remember the first ghost story ever told wasn't about vengeance or horror, it was about compassion, a reminder that even the dead sometimes need a little help finding their way home. And while this story was a little bit of a downer, I promise the scares will come later.
That's really interesting. When you first started explaining it, the offer it food and drink, I was like, oh, so it's like an ofrenda,
Yes.
kind of like
Dia de los
an
Muertos.
offering to give to the dead to kind of invite them back to, I guess, the living world just for like a day or something. So it's so weird how all of those tales kind of, I don't know, have the same, or not the same, but similar stories of how they talk about spirits or talk about ghosts, because everybody, or like the whole beginning of people, I guess you can say, were so split and there was no way for them to communicate. Like they don't have, like, they couldn't text each other, these things. They just like came up with it. And it's weird how it's just all so similar. Like they have little things that are very much the same. So that's really interesting to hear.
I know. And I feel like we could easily just like completely divert into like the main topic for today because of this. But for me, it's just like I've always believed that like stories have to come from something. You know, like I couldn't have written Bad Boy if I didn't know that dogs existed and that serial killers exist, you know? So it's like these things all come from somewhere. So I was always curious to hear about like the first ever ghost story. And then I was even more shocked, like, oh, it's like Dia de los Muertos. And it's not a scary topic. It's more so just like they're just trying to find their way, you know?
And also a little bit of Greek mythology where it's kind of like the river Styx, is that what it's called? Where like somebody there to take you into the underworld. So interesting.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like we can grave dig into that way more once it's time. But before we do, I think it's the perfect time to turn this spooky slumber party into a seance and call upon Mincer Van Ghoul.
Hi, everyone. So this week, I was really inspired by the movie we went to go see. I really enjoyed Good Boy. It was a pretty decent movie. Got to remember it's low budget. So I kind of wanted to go back to this old illustration that I did last year that I kind of gave up on. Around last year, I did this series called The Virtuous Villains, where I took different villain from different franchises and gave them a positive message. I don't know if you saw it, but like that rubber hose style was everywhere with a positive message of just hang in there or stay hydrated or something like that. But I want to take the villains and give them a positive message. So like I took Ursula and I mentioned your voice is powerful, never be silenced. I took Bowser from the Mario series. He's always trying to kidnap that princess. And then I just put, your goals require determination. And then I also sketched Jack Skellington, which I know isn't a villain, but it was Halloween time. I just couldn't make it work. But then after seeing this movie, I was like, oh, Jack and Zero, that's a perfect combination. So I just wanted to make like this little sticker that I could send out with my Halloween cards coming soon of Jack and his very good boy, Zero.
Oh, that is so cute. I hate surprises, but at the same time, I love that. I know it's always gonna be a good one, obviously, but it's like I don't know where you're gonna go with it, but that is so freaking cute.
Yeah, I love how his head is so circular. How Jack's head is just like so circular, and I don't know, it just makes him look so adorable, and he has like a little butt because he's so skinny in the movie, and this one gave him like a little butt. And Zero, of course, just looks so cute. Such a good boy.
Yes, I love it. I was actually thinking the whole week, I was like, is he going to do a dog? And if so, like, what does a drag dog look like? Because, like, that's the only way I can think of, like, how to explain, like, you always add, like, the eyelashes and, like, the flair to it. And so, like, this is different from what you normally do. So that's where I'm, like, I love that this challenges you because we get to see, like, well, what would you do if you can't make it work with, like, the eyelashes and the eyeliner, you know? So this is so cute. And Zero looks so cute and happy. I love it.
I want to thank you for your compliments, but now all I'm thinking about is a drag dog, so I'm totally distracted from everything else you said.
Oh my gosh. Do it. I was really curious. I was like, because you always do a good job, and I did not mean that as like a you only do drag. I just genuinely meant it like, how is he going to make a dog in his style? Because we haven't seen you do like, at least I don't recall seeing you do a dog before. So I was like, I'm so curious of what this is going to turn out like. But then I was like, or maybe he's not going to do a dog and we'll just get like a ghost. So yeah, I really like it.
I see a drag Cujo coming in soon.
All right, Menster. Thank you so much. Sinister sketch as always.
Sketch you later.
All right, Ghosters, we know we piqued your interest with all the ghost banter, so let's do a real deep dive now and get into our favorite chat of the week, keeping the spook alive.
It's alive! It's alive!
All right, Rabbit, what's haunting on your end?
Alrighty, so to keep in the theme of this week's ghost theme, I went to the movies to go watch Good Boy. That dog is so cute. Can I just start with that? He's like the cutest little dog, and his face is so serious throughout the whole movie. Like you never, you see dogs and sometimes they look like they're smiling and like happy or something like that. But this dog just had like the most serious face throughout the whole movie. He was so cute. But I guess like a mini review, I like that it was a new perspective of the dog. You're kind of like watching the movie or experiencing the story from the dog's perspective and things that, that animals may or may not see in the corners of the rooms. So that was really good. It was kind of a short movie. It was maybe like an hour and some, so not even like a full feature length movie. But if I'm being honest, it could have been a little bit shorter.
It could have been a short film.
It could have been a short film, but it was really good. I just think it could have been a short film and it still had like a really good impact. And there were some scenes where I kind of got lost in the storytelling because kind of like in a human scary ghost movie, they have dream sequences and the dog has a dream sequence multiple times. And I'm like, I don't know if this is real or if this is a dream. So I got lost in the storytelling in some areas and I was like, wait, how did we get here? What part? Was that a dream or was that not a dream? But I won't get into too many spoilers. But they also had an end credit scene, which was really just like a behind the scenes kind of little clip that they had at the end especially for people that go to the movies to go see their film. And it really reminded me of you and Mr. Spooks. Like it was just a couple with their dog making a movie and just kind of talking about their experiences and how they filmed certain scenes and pretty much told you like, don't feel sad for the dog. Don't worry. We never like harmed him. And then they did show like a clip of how they recorded one scary scene and you're like, oh, they're just kind of like, hey, look up here. And he's just like looking so concerned. But then they show the clip of the movie and he looks so serious, like he's scared in a certain scene. So it was really cool to see that. And then it just reminded me of you guys. And I was like, oh, that's so cute.
I am very bummed that I could not make it to see the movie. It is very high on my list, but it is just absolute madness right now with pre-production for the film and all the events and stuff. But I do want to address the skeleton in the room. I have received a couple of people mentioning like, oh, what a coincidence. And I know it's not intended that way at all. No one's saying that. But I do want to say that I did not copy this film and that I will eventually be able to share why it was actually called Bad Boy. And it had nothing to do with like the marketing or anything. But I can't share until you guys see the film. So you're just going to have to stay tuned for the reasoning of why it was called Bad Boy and stuff. But also, I want to say, never mind. I'm going to spill the beans. I get too excited. I'm just going to shut up. That's all I'm going to say. I didn't copy this film.
I heard of your short film before I heard of this movie. Your defense. I heard of Bad Boy first before Good Boy came out. But I think you mentioned that to me a couple days ago and I was like, well, yes, but no, I don't think they're like the same stories at all. And I told you that Good Boy is more of like the paranormal dog movie and Bad Boy is going to be like the slasher dog horror movie. So they are different. Just they have very similar names, but they're totally different stories.
Yeah, I know. It's just like that whole like, oh, they beat me to it. Because again, we're poor, so we need money. Please go to our GoFundMe. But now I'm like, and then you saying this gives me like the paranoia of like, oh my God, someone with money is going to go make a dog slasher movie before I can even finish mine. But,
no, I think you're good.
Yeah, we'll see. But I do have a dying question or like a burning question about it. Was it sad?
Yes, but not for the reason that people are scared to watch the movie. I don't want to spoil it.
Okay. We're good. You know, we should have watched that stupid movie. Not stupid. I'm just saying, like, you know how when you're thinking, that movie that was like going viral for being like from the perspective of the ghost. I forget what it's called. You know what I'm talking about? It was like during season 1 or 2. Let me Google it. Movie about ghost perspective. We should have watched that for this ghost episode. I just realized.
The Knuckle Kid?
Presence. Oh, it came
Say it
out
again?
last year. Presence.
Presents. No, I don't remember that. Oops.
So it went viral because it's like the first movie that was made from the perspective of the ghost. I have also heard that it's very depressing. Maybe we'll just have a depressing ghost episode eventually and cover both movies.
Yeah, I guess so. But how have you kept the spook alive?
You're like, anyway, Mandy, move on. Yes. Okay. So I went on my first ever ghost tour. But I don't think it was a traditional one. I wouldn't know because I haven't gone on one before. But Elevate Immersive is one of my favorite Denver event companies, and they invited me to their Talking Dead Ghostly Pub Crawl. And what they do is they walk you through Golden, Colorado, and there are actors at different stops throughout Golden that are actually like acting as ghosts from this area and retelling like their history and how they died and why they haunt the place that they're at. And I surprisingly really enjoyed it. It was not what I expected at all. And I think, I don't know, I guess maybe you've been to a ghost tour and you can tell me about it. But I guess I just expected them to be like exaggerating and pretending things were happening that weren't happening. But it was actually kind of cool to just be like, oh, okay, this is not a scary or like high adrenaline Halloween experience. It was actually like, oh, I would have never chosen to do this had I not been like invited to it. And now I'm kind of like, I think I want to do more ghost or like history tours in general. And I think I'm not typically someone who's interested in like a lot of history. So the fact that it had a spooky element made it more interesting for me too. So it was just like the perfect combination of a lot of things for me.
Yeah, that sounds really fun. Because at least the two ghost things that I've been to, it's mostly like history. You just go through, it's a walking tour of going through the history of the city, and then they tell you the ghost stories. So I have been to one in Chicago. That one was fun, but it wasn't really a ghost tour. It was like a history tour. So they took us to like all these like classic mafia scenes, or not scenes because it's not a movie, but locations. These like infamous locations that these like crazy things happened. And that was cool to see. But that one was more like they took you on a bus. So you took you on a bus, and then you would like get off the bus and go look at these locations in person, and they would tell you the stories, and then they would like bus you off to the next section. And then I believe in one of the stops that we had in Chicago was a cemetery, and that's where they gave you ghost equipment. It was kind of cheesy. I don't know. It's just, I want to believe in ghosts, but then there's like so many cheesy things that ghost hunters do, and it's like, I don't know, this is kind of weird. So they gave you like the dowsing rods, and we were there like holy little things asking questions. And like I don't even know, like electric magnetic EMF, the EMF reader. So we were just like walking around with this like little device and waiting for it to turn green. And I don't know, they are fun, but it's mostly all history. And same thing when I went to New Orleans. I went to one alone. And yeah, it was nice to hear the history and see the locations. But what I like about yours is that there were actual like actors. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I feel like that made it less scary, but in a good way. Like I enjoyed it because I don't know if I would like the whole like bring out the props and and see if we can hunt for ghosting, like you just said. So I guess that leads me perfectly into my burning question of, do you believe in ghosts? Because we have not covered that on the podcast.
No, not yet. I think we've like tiptoed around it, but never really fully went into if we believe in ghosts or not. I am a skeptic, but I am open-minded. I do love listening to people's ghost stories. But then sometimes when I am listening to ghost story podcasts where all they do is just tell people personal ghost stories, I'm like, I don't know, were you going through a little bit of like psychosis? Were you okay during that time when this was happening to you? Did you test your house for carbon monoxide? So I don't know. I just start thinking of those things. So I'm like, I don't know. That sounds really out there, I guess you can say. But yeah, I just haven't experienced really anything on my end that's super, super ghost story, like a concrete story where I can really say that I believe in ghosts. But I will say that I still get scared very easily. If you tell me a ghost story, I will probably be scared. But I'm still like, but is it real? I don't know. What about you?
That's fair. Well, I guess, excuse me, I'm being haunted by the sleepies. But I guess I do believe because I'm so scared of it. Like, if I wasn't afraid, I guess that would mean I don't believe in it. I've never had an experience. I mean, I have had one experience that we could get into, because I feel like we could get into like our ghost stories, but I don't know. It just kind of goes back to the like stories come from somewhere, and people didn't just like automatically think like, oh, you know what would be scary if there was like a ghost of this dead person, and like, how did the word ghost get invented? Like, I just spiral of like the history, you know? So like, I guess deep down I do believe, but because of that, I do not mess with anything. Like, Liz asked me and Rudy the other day, like, oh, if I got ghost hunting equipment, would you guys want to go with me? And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, because even when we did like Haunted Ever After, we kind of like played with the idea of that, but we never actually like we went to haunted locations, but we weren't specifically seeking like, oh, we're gonna like try to talk to these spirits and stuff. And I'm just like, I feel that maybe I've never had an experience because I have not opened myself up to that.
That could be a reason, because I think one of my bucket lists in life is to go to a haunted location and do ghost hunting. Like, I would love to do that and have like the ghost hunting equipment and just go all in and kind of like run around this abandoned location and look for any kind of ghost. Like, that sounds fun. Terrifying. My adrenaline will probably be spiking through the whole time, but I don't know. It just sounds fun to go and try that. But then when it comes to like a Ouija board, I don't know if I would do it. I'd be too scared.
Oh my gosh.
Would you do a Ouija board?
No, I don't. I'm such a chicken. I just think like, if you don't mess with it, it won't mess with you. Like, the only way, we have talked about this though, like the only way I would do these things is if Ghoul Meets Entertainment took off and we had like a full blown like, all right, you're getting a production team, a budget, and we need you to produce a ghost hunting show. I'd be like, fine, I'll do it. I'll sell my soul for the fucking money and fame. But if you're talking to broke Mandy with no job, that's not even getting paid opportunities at this point, no.
Like,
my sanity is not worth that. My love does cost a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Ouija boards, maybe that's kind of pushing the limit for me, but I don't know. Maybe if you do it correctly, I mean, you could just say goodbye and hopefully that's the end of it. But then there's other ways to communicate, supposedly. Because I feel like tarot cards are kind of communicating with the further. And I think you've expressed some interest in tarot cards.
Don't be putting that on me. That's so funny. I literally like was going through a book about tarot today.
Really?
No, yeah. I get that, but I don't know. I just feel like with tarot, it's more about like introspection, like thinking and processing your emotions, and like the cards kind of like help guide you through your emotions. And like, because I guess like for me, I've only done a card reading once on myself, and that's why I was like looking through my book to see if I wanted to do another one. But I feel like you're not like seeking a person or a spirit or an entity. It's kind of more so like a journal prompt to me, where it's like, okay, this is my question, and the card I pull kind of helps me look at it from a specific perspective that I might not be looking at it from, you know? And again, I've only ever done it once, but that's kind of like my personal experience with it. Versus like actually seeking something out there, like what's out there waiting to be called upon. I don't know. It could be good. It could be bad. But I will say too, last year I went to this thing called Darkfield, and it's this event. It travels, so I don't know where it's at right now, but it was here in Denver, and it's 3 pop-ups. There's one that's like called Coma, Flight, and Seance. And there are these like those trailer things that are empty that they like always return into like restaurants and stuff.
Like a train?
No,
thing?
like those. Oh my God, what are they called? I'm blanking.
Like a
They're used
crate?
to like
a,
transport things, but they're not a train.
like the freight? Is that what it's called?
I have no idea. But anyway, they transform them because they're completely dark, obviously. Like, you can only see if you, like, open the main door. So they transform them into these immersive experiences. And one of them was like, okay, if you take a pill, like, you'll be transported into this coma. And, like, all of them are completely dark. Like, that's the play on it, that they're, like, pitch black. You can't see anything except you put on headphones and you hear an experience, but they decorate them to make you feel like you're getting immersed into this. And so one of them was Seance, and you go in and it looks like a Victorian setting. So it's like just this whole, I guess, freight of like the Victorian wallpaper, and then like theater style looking seats, and then like the long table and like the chandelier. And then you put the headphones on and it goes completely black, and you hear the whole thing of like a seance happening. And then I start panicking because I'm like, what if just like hearing this triggers it? Like, they don't know that, like, ghosts don't know you're acting, you know? So then I came out thinking like, oh my God, what if it stayed with us? What if we really called upon something? So that's where my brain goes. Like, I just can't disconnect like the what if scenario of everything.
Yeah. That just sounds terrifying on its own.
It was really scary because it's completely pitch black, which I'm already terrified of. And you have these headphones that are literally like surround sound style, where you like hear the stuff moving. And so like you hear the pounding on the table, and you hear like the scary guy that is like facilitating all of this. And it was really scary, honestly. Not my cup of tea.
Were you alone? Did they put you in there alone?
No, it's like this whole thing full of people. So like 20, 40
okay.
people are all sitting like in a whole row. And then it's like a table. So it's like one row facing another row. And then I don't know what kind of psychos are in here in the dark.
I know, yeah.
Like, and it's just crazy. So yeah, that was my scary experience with Seance.
That is creepy. I'd really got intimidated to do that. So I'm kind of proud of you.
Thank you. I told you I'll do anything for the gram. Back then, I would do anything. Now I have a price. But anyway, what were we saying? Okay, so do we believe? It sounds like yes, we believe. Well, you're a maybe. I'm a yes. I respect the things. So then I guess the next thing is, what's the closest thing you've experienced to a ghost?
Yeah, I guess I could get into my maybe ghost stories because I feel like they can be explained away, or at least I can explain them away. But I'll start with like the least scary. So at work, I work in an office, and I sometimes had to work on Saturdays. And usually working hours for my office is Monday through Friday, but I had to go work certain events on Saturdays. So I would go in kind of early, because I did work with if you work on Saturday, you would have somebody else there with you. But I got there a little bit earlier, usually before they got there. And so I would just kind of catch up on my work because I didn't have anybody bothering me on Teams. So I could just sit and like concentrate on the tasks that I had to do for whatever. And I would just sit there at work. And sometimes there was one where I heard a woman like clear their throat. And I'm like, what was that? Like, why is somebody clearing their throat? And the cool thing about our office layout is that it's a hallway and then there's 2 large cubicles. And then within those 2 cubicles, there's like multiple desks that people can sit at. But there's a hallway and there's like a mirror at the top so you can see. It's more for like you don't bump into each other when you're like exiting out a hallway. You can see like who's coming where. And my desk is positioned towards that mirror so I can like look to my top right and see if like anybody's like passing by or whatever. So I heard the noise of somebody clearing their throat and I look up to see like who's here. I'm like, okay, that's weird. I'm here alone. And there was nobody there. And I'm like, what is happening right now? And then the same thing happened today. I was sitting in that same desk, in that same cubicle, talking to my coworker who was sitting next to me. And we were talking about Not Scary Farm and all that because we both had went. And I just heard a sigh to like the left where like the hallway is. And I look and I'm like, oh, I'm like, did you hear that? It's just like, oh yeah, I did hear something was right there. And so I went to the other cubicle just to make sure nobody was in there. And there was nobody there. And I'm like, this is kind of weird. But then I'm like, okay, what if it's the custodial crew? Because there's always a custodial person there, even on Saturdays, cleaning or whatever. So maybe, I don't know, maybe they're just walking around really quickly and I don't see them. Or maybe like the noise is echoing from wherever they're standing and it comes to our direction, or they're not. I don't know. It's weird, but I feel like I can explain it off as like, okay, maybe somebody is there. We're just hearing like an echo, or I don't know. They're just in a separate section and we still hear it on our end. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I hear you. That's interesting though that it's twice and that your coworker heard it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's my kind of weird, but is it really a ghost? I don't know. It could just be noises in the office, other people. But I do have another, it's not a long story, but when we first moved into our apartment, Menser Van Gogh said that when we first moved in, he heard somebody call his name in my voice, but I wasn't home. And I think that's really creepy.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That's why I was afraid at your apartment.
Really?
That's why I was afraid to visit, because I was like, wait, I remember he told Menser not to tell him anything that would happen. And I'm like, what if he's not telling us stuff? And then I'm the one that gets spooked.
Did you get spooked though? Did you hear anything?
No, nothing happened, thankfully.
No. Yeah, I'm like, it's fine. So I'm like, maybe you're just hearing things. Maybe, I don't know. The brain is weird. It could make things up. So maybe his brain made something up. Maybe he was missing me extra that day. And then he thought he heard my voice, or maybe it is a ghost, or maybe it is a mimic. And
oh my gosh, not the mimic.
But then we've been here for years and nothing's happened. So I'm like, okay, if there really is something here, it's not going to hurt us. Because if it was going to, then it would have done it by now.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And also, I wanted to bring this up and I didn't know how, and this seems like the perfect time. I feel like people that I do know that have had experiences, they're not afraid. And I find that so strange. I feel like it's the people who have not had an experience are more afraid because it's like the unknown. And I don't want to find out, though. That's the problem, is like, I don't want to find out if like the fear goes away, because what if it doesn't? And then I'm just like traumatized for life. But I feel like most people that I know firsthand have shared these experiences are like, except for Liz. Actually, we should have had Liz on this episode.
We should have.
Because she will scare the crap out of all of you. But she never really told me if she communicated with them or not, but I feel like most people who are not afraid have always told me, like, you just have to speak to them and tell them, like, I understand you're here, but we have to respect each other, and like have like a genuine conversation with them. And that's just wild to me. I'm like, I'd be so freaking scared though. Like I would, because I've also heard like, don't acknowledge it. Like if you
Yeah.
see something, no, you didn't, you know?
Uh-huh.
So, but I feel like the people who are not afraid are usually people that I feel are like genuinely good people, you know? And they just say like, oh, they're not there to harm you. Like they're just confused, or you just need to tell them like, this is my space now. So I don't know. It's just interesting. I'm not brave enough to find out.
Yeah. I do wish we really had at least Liz send in a story, because I know she told you a couple and that like really freaked you out for a while. So I'm really curious to hear like what scared you so bad. But I also don't want to put you through that torture again.
No, well, I mean, if it helps, I live it daily now because I literally so I don't want to tell her stories because I didn't get permission. I bet you she would like jump at the opportunity to come on here and tell the stories. So if you guys are listening, leave a comment, do something, leave us a review and put, this is for Liz. Just kidding.
Yeah. We need part 2 ghosts.
Yeah. If you guys demand it, we will bring her on. But one of the stories she told me left me so traumatized that like I have like a small opening under my bed. It's not like the normal size ones. It's like smaller because of the type of bed frame I have. And ever since she told me that story at night, like I will minimize the amount of time my feet are on the floor. So like I have those Plaza Theater seats next to my bed. And this was never like a fear I had. I was never afraid of like under the bed, even though that's like one of the common cliches. But one of the stories she told me freaked me out that week when I was not sleeping. I had put my feet down and I was like, oh my God, what if it's the thing that was with Liz? And so like I picked them up, and now like by habit, I always put my feet up on that Plaza Theater chair if I'm sitting. Like so that like, you know, like so if I'm sitting here or like this is the bed, the chairs are here. And so like I'll usually like sit on my side of the bed, like if I'm gonna put my phone to charge and just like do things. And now every time I'm hyper aware, I'm like, put your feet on the chair or put your feet on the bed, but they should never be on the floor if you don't need them on the floor.
Oh, that is traumatizing. But I'm the same way with keeping my feet under the covers. Yeah, like I can't, like if I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm hot, I put my leg out at least, but my feet stay under the covers. I'm just too scared. I'm like, somebody's gonna grab them if I leave them out. Someone's gonna grab my toes.
Yes, but then Paranormal Activity traumatized me when they took that fear and put the ghost inside the sheets. That's why that movie was just like, ugh, so tough for me.
How you're scary.
Put your toes in.
But yeah, I know. Good thing I have my shoes on right now.
Yeah, they can't grab your feet if they're in shoes.
No, they're protected. They're good.
Oh my God, now we're gonna sleep with shoes on.
Okay,
so you know what else scares me too, though? I'm getting creeped out. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to turn the chair. Hold on.
Oh no.
I'm back. I got creeped out. Oh no, it's happening. The creeps are here.
Yes.
I also saw a TikTok that had said like you should never leave a chair untucked because then a spirit will sit in it. And then literally as I was about to tell you that, the chair was facing me. What the
Oh.
and then I told Rudy and he's like, oh no, don't get scared, but there's a ghost on the couch and on the chair over there in the table. And I'm like, you don't know that.
Well, at least he's making a joke, so it's a little bit taking the edge off a little bit, but no, there's like little things like that, like my feet could never be outside of the blanket. I've been really brave lately, but before, if I were to wake up in the middle of the night, I wouldn't open my eyes and look at the doorway, just because I just didn't want to scare myself. Like if something was there, then
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss. And if it was going to do something, it would have done something. So it's like there's no point of looking. Because if there is something there, they would do something. And if there's not, or if there is, maybe it's just a ghost. And there's no reason for me to get scared because it didn't do anything to me. But
go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, now when I do, I open my eyes and look and there's never anything there. But I've been a little bit more brave for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm the opposite. I am the girl that gets killed because she has to know what the noise was.
Oh my gosh, no.
Like that's why I have a hard time sleeping, because like my mind is constantly like, oh my God, what's behind me right now, or what's in the corner, and I can't sleep with the door open. And it's funny because like me and Poppy had this conversation when she was here. I think I had asked her if she sleeps with her door closed or open, because I was trying to figure out, I guess I was just like, is it going to be weird if I tell her like close her door or whatever? And she said she sleeps with hers open, and my mom sleeps with hers open too. And their reasoning is like, you have to see if someone's in the house. And I'm like, shoot, I don't care if they're in the living room. Just leave them out there. As long as my door's closed, I don't care. Like, not saying like, yes, break in, but it's like, for me, it's like, that seems like an extra security blanket.
Another barrier. Yeah.
Yes. So, I don't know. That's interesting. There was something else I was going to say too, but I forgot.
That's okay. I'm sure it'll come up again.
Yes. Did you have any other ghost stories before I share mine?
I think you should go next.
Okay.
I want to hear yours.
So mine are not scary, obviously, because I've never had an experience, but like the closest thing I could say to like a quotation ghost is, and I've told this story on the first podcast, but when my grandma passed away, backstory, I used to love singing a lot. I mean, I still love it. I just don't practice as much. Excuse me. And when she first passed away, I could not sing. Like, it hurt me too much to sing, because like one of the last conversations I remember from her was I had sang at like a church bazaar. Like, I think you remember I used to go do like karaoke sets and sing at like church bazaars and stuff. And she had went to the last one I had done, and she said in Spanish, she told me, one day the whole world is going to hear your voice. And it's funny because like now I look back on that and I'm like, did my grandma predict the future? But she just didn't know it was singing. It was going to be like being a spooky girl. You know? Yeah. Which I always find so weird. And I feel like it's part of the reason I can't let go of podcasting, because I just like relate it directly to my grandma. But she told me that. And so like when I would try singing, I just couldn't. Like, I was so emotionally like done. And I finally decided to sing, and I sang this song called Slipped Away from Avril. And good old Avril, this is so nostalgic. And it was about the loss of her grandpa. So that was why I chose to sing that. And so I sang it. And I swear at the end of me finishing it, I felt her touch my shoulder. And like, again, it could have been like my brain's way of like healing and mourning and stuff. But I swear to you, like, never in the rest of my whole life have I ever felt anything like that, anything real like that. And of course I wasn't scared, because I knew it was her if it was anything, you know, although I just realized, what if it wasn't her?
No.
Like, my brain just doesn't stop.
No, that's why I'm like, there has to be, I struggle so much with afterlife and all of that, because I just feel like the energy just can't not exist anymore. Like that energy has to go somewhere, but I don't know where it goes or what happens. So I don't know. I if the part of me that does believe in ghosts does believe that it was the energy of your grandma kind of giving you that, like, I don't know, like, I'm here and that was good, or like, I don't know, approval, I guess you can say.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I just always think of it as like, it was a very heartwarming moment, like whether it was real or not, you know? But I don't know. I feel like what I have experienced a lot in my life is just this like fear, unsettling fear in certain locations. And I can't explain it. I don't know why or where it comes from, but like as a kid, I remember, and it was like the first house I lived in, so I don't know if it was just naturally like the two first houses I lived in scared me and I was a kid, or if it was related to something, but two things. So first, I remember the house I lived in growing up, and I've never actually talked about this. I could not sleep at night. I used to sleep in my mom's bed with her, and I could not sleep. I was just always scared. I can't tell you why. I didn't see anything. I don't remember anything that triggered it, but I do remember I literally had to like watch TV all night, and I would fall asleep like at 4 or 5 in the morning because I was just so scared. and I couldn't sleep unless like my mom was awake first, and that has kind of carried on throughout my life, which is why you saw I have such a hard time sleeping when I'm by myself. And I don't know where that comes from. I feel like a lot of people, it's like, oh, you saw a scary movie that traumatized you for life, or you experienced something. Have never experienced anything. I don't recall anything, but that house specifically, I was mortified. Like I could not sleep in that house. And I felt that same way in my grandma's house. And I can't remember if this happened before or after, but I had a dream the night before my grandpa died that his best friend had murdered him. And then when I woke up in the morning, my mom told me the news that my grandpa had passed away. And I don't remember if the feelings I had about this house started before or after, but I swear to you, that house always felt so freaking scary to me. Especially like his room, I always felt like a really dark energy in there. And ever since, like, my aunt and her daughter and her family still live there, and it's just crazy to me. A lot of people have had different experiences in that house. And I try not to talk about it out of respect for the people who are living there. But I feel like everyone in my family has a story about that house. And that house is, like, so old. Like, when they bought it, it was, like, such a tiny like home, and my grandpa expanded it. So I'm like, we have no idea what was in this, like what was in that land before they built it out. So
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah, I have very similar experience with, or not similar, but I feel like everybody has either a story about a specific house that just has bad vibes to it. And I definitely have a house that my dad purchased years ago when I was maybe in like elementary school. And yeah, even to this day, I'm very curious, obviously, about scary stuff. So whenever I go to El Paso, I always want to like go and pass by and just like see the house that has scared me for years, because it has given me recurring nightmares. Like I dream about that house, that I'm stuck in the walls of the house, and I'm like running down into the restroom that's downstairs by the garage. And everybody says, or not everybody, but the people that I talk to about the house says that it's like a cursed house, because everybody that has lived in it, that has been married, get divorced. Like it's that crazy. So when my parents moved in, they got a divorce. Then I'm just feeling all like my family's dirty laundry. Then my dad sold the house to his brother. And when they moved in, they got divorced. And then apparently, I don't know if this is just, to keep the story scary, but I was told that the family before that bought the house from my dad, when my dad moved in, or when I moved in with my dad, before them, they sold it because they also got divorced. So it's just like, is it just a coincidence, or is this house actually really scary? Because even then, when I would like sleep there, I would get so scared. Like, it was just such a big house. I think that's another thing. It was such a big house. There was like so many bedrooms in there, and I don't know, it just had some weird vibes. And the way that the house is laid out, it reminds me of the Amityville horror house with like, how it's like two eyes. So like it looks like it has two eyes. It's the same thing with that house. There's like two windows in the front, and then the garage, and it just looks like a face. It's just creepy. And I hate that house.
No, I get you. It's funny because, man, I'm looking at the time, and usually, guys, we don't have like a deadline on our episodes, but I have to stream in 30 minutes, and I'm like, this was such a good episode. Why'd I put a deadline on it? So now I'm like, do we need a part 2 with Liz?
Yeah, I think we need to split this up for sure.
Yeah. So the last thing I'm going to say, though, is because you did bring up energies, is I kind of do feel like, I don't know if it's related, like maybe that fear we have with these houses, right? It kind of made me realize something. I'm thinking of how to word what is in my brain right now, but I feel like you're onto something with energy, of like energy can't just disappear, but maybe it's literally like energy remnants versus ghosts, or like people occupying space. Like maybe, yes, something really bad happened and that like it was so bad that like that trauma stays in the air somehow. I don't know how to explain it because our last apartment in Colorado, like nothing haunted happened, but I also just realized that there was just something poisoning our life when we were there. And I don't know how to explain it, but like we moved in there, things were great, and Rudy got cancer. We started having tons of problems, like not anything like juicy or tea or anything, but we just were not happy. Like we were not in a good place, like either of us. Like we had thought that Colorado was a mistake because we were just like so depressed in this apartment, and we thought it was because it was like just too much of a small space. But like looking back on it, I'm like, I feel like there was a negative energy there, because ever since we moved to this space, which I have more to add on later because I'm like, I'm running out of time and I have so much to say now. But spooky things have happened to me here in this apartment, but they've all been things that I'm like, oh, I can explain them with something like that makes sense, or I just haven't felt scared here, even though spooky things have happened. Like I'm talking like lights turn on and off. Like there's something weird with the electrical stuff here. I don't know what it is, but I don't feel afraid. And I was afraid when Liz told me her stories, but like that apartment, I was not scared, but there was something like really dark happening to our souls. That sounds so serious, but like seriously, like when we moved out, I went through this whole phase of like thinking that I was barely healing from like what happened with Rudy, and it was like taking time to process, but I really feel like it was the space. Like something in that space drove us insane.
Yeah. No, I believe that. I really think that there's like pockets, or not pockets, but like areas of energy that just, I don't know, just feed into your own life and feed into how you feel. So I think we're onto something here where like the energy in a certain area really determines like your happiness and your healthiness. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but I really do think that like certain areas really do affect you, because I would hate to live in that house right now if I had to. I would, I don't know, I'd go crazy probably.
Well, yeah. And, I always think of like, ever since I saw that American Horror Story season about the murder house, I think is what it's called. I've always been like, I just discovered that's a big reason why I'm a big, like, I cannot commit to a house. Like, I've always told people the joke of like, how people get phobia of like getting married and commitment issues? Like, that's how I feel with houses. That is why, because what if you buy a haunted house? That is so permanent.
The wrong house. Yeah, that is great. That is scary. Okay.
Yeah.
Good thing we live in apartments so we can leave if we want.
Yes, exactly. Sure, you think I'm wasting money, but at least I'm not committed to a ghost.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I feel like that's probably a good stopping point, to be honest. And I'm going to put Liz on the spot here and say that maybe next week we'll return with part 2 of Ghosts with real ghost stories. And if not, that's okay. I honestly, like, she could have things planned and not have the time or bandwidth to join us. But I feel like there's still a lot more we could dive into on this topic, even if she doesn't join us.
For sure. Yes.
Rabbit's like, yes, bring her on. Tell her to terrify me. You guys are going to hear the ghost and be like, that's what scared you, Mandy.
They're like, that's it. No, I'm already getting scared with what we're talking about right now, so I'm sure I'll be terrified.
I know, the chair being turned, that freaked me out. Well, we hope you guys have enjoyed spooky season with us so far. All right, do you have anything else you want to add before we wrap things up?
No, there's a couple things I wanted to bring up, but I think I'll save it for the next episode just to add on to the spooky stories.
Okay, perfect. All right, Ghosters, we hope you had fun at our very spooky slumber party.
And remember, keep horror alive and watch something spooky this weekend.
Until next time, sending you ghouls and kisses. Bye.
Bye.
Ha 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 ha.